All right, so have you ever gotten back from like an amazing trip and you're just like bursting with all these stories, but then when you try to tell people about it, you just
can't
find the words?
Right.
It's like, I know exactly what happened, but but I can't.
Yeah, you can't make them feel it.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're going to do a deep dive on how to be a better storyteller, especially when it comes to travel.
All right.
And we're going to be using a kind of unusual source.
Okay.
It's actually a conversation circle.
Okay.
That was designed for people who are learning English
as
a second language.
Yeah.
So they're learning English, and the topic of the conversation is travel.
Got it. That's actually really smart.
Yeah.
Because
it's sneaky.
It is sneaky. Because everybody loves to talk about their trips.
Right.
But they're also like secretly improving their communication skills.
Exactly. And so by looking at how this conversation circle was structured, we can all learn to be better storytellers.
Okay, I like it.
Even if English is our first language.
Yeah.
So the way this circle works is that they start off with a really simple question, just to get people warmed up and talking.
Okay.
And the question is, have you traveled to any exciting places recently?
I'd like that.
Right. Like anyone can answer that.
Yeah. That's easy to jump into. It's not too intimidating.
Exactly.
But I do wonder if this kind of structured approach could feel a little too rigid for some people. Some learners might thrive in a more free-flowing kind of conversation.
For sure.
Where they can just like bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah. You definitely have to tailor it to your audience.
Exactly.
All right. So after that warm-up question,
yeah,
the conversation circle gets into the nitty-gritty of language.
Okay.
And the first thing they focus on is pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
And the example they use is the word relaxing.
Okay.
They really stress how important it is to emphasize that second syllable.
Relaxing, not relaxing G.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good one. Because I could see how that could
totally
change the meaning.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to tell someone that you had a relaxing vacation.
Right.
When you meant...
Yeah, when you meant relaxing.
It was very relaxing.
Yeah.
Like you just slept the whole time.
It reminds me that we have to think about how we say things.
Yes.
And not just the words themselves.
Absolutely. And I think this applies to, way beyond just language learning.
Oh, for sure.
Like, clear pronunciation is so important.
Yes.
Whether you're giving a presentation at work or just talking to your friends.
It can make or break how your message is received.
Yes.
People might not even realize that they're not understanding you because of your pronunciation.
Right. They might just feel like something's off.
Exactly. So it's like a fundamental skill that a lot of people just overlook.
Okay, so moving on from pronunciation.
Yeah.
The conversation circle also emphasizes using vivid vocabulary.
Oh, okay.
Especially when you're describing your travel experiences. Got it.
And they give a couple of examples of words like challenging and exhilarating.
Right. Instead of just saying the hike was hard, you could say the hike was grueling, but the view from the summit was absolutely breathtaking.
Yes.
I mean, that paints a picture, right?
Exactly.
It's like taking those generic words and finding words that really capture how you felt.
And it makes the listener feel like they're there.
Totally. It's about bringing your story to life.
Exactly.
It reminds me of this one time I got totally lost in the back streets of America.
Oh, I bet that was an adventure.
Oh, it was. And at the time, the word lost just felt like such a vast understatement.
Yeah.
It did not even come close to describing how disoriented and kind of panicked I felt.
Right.
So I had to really dig deeper to find the right words.
What words did you end up using?
Well, I think I ended up describing it as feeling like I was in a labyrinth.
Ooh.
With walls that seemed to shift and change with every turn I took.
Wow.
That's like being in a dream.
That's kind of how I felt.
That's so much more evocative.
It is, right. And so I think that's a good challenge for our listeners, too.
Yeah.
Think about a time when you had to really think on your feet while you were traveling.
Yeah.
How did you handle it?
Yeah.
What language could you use to make that story come alive?
That's a great question. And speaking of think on your feet, that actually brings us to the next element.
Okay.
Idiom practice.
Right.
So the conversation circle uses that idiom, think on your feet, as an example of how these colorful expressions can add depth and personality to your language.
Yeah. It's like a shortcut to conveying a complex idea.
Right.
And it just sounds more natural.
Exactly. And think on your feet is so fitting.
It is.
For travel. Because you're constantly encountering these unexpected situations.
Exactly. You got to be resourceful. You got to adapt.
Right. And that's a skill that translates to so many areas of life.
Think about job interviews, presentations, even just navigating like everyday challenges.
Yeah.
Being able to think on your feet is such a valuable asset.
It really is.
And idioms are a great way to express that.
Okay, now let's talk grammar.
Right.
So the conversation circle subtly encourages people to use the present perfect tense when they're discussing their past travel experiences.
Got it.
So, instead of saying, I visited Paris, they'll say, I have visited Paris.
Okay.
Or, we tried all these different foods.
Yeah.
We've tried all these different foods.
Got it.
Why do you think they emphasize that?
Well, I think the present perfect tense is perfect for travel. Because it connects those past experiences to your present perspective, right? It's not just like a distant memory. So when you say, I've visited Paris, it suggests that you still carry those memories and insights with you today.
And that makes it more interesting.
It does. It becomes more personal and engaging for the listener.
So to sum up, even a simple conversation about travel can be a really good opportunity to improve our communication skills.
Absolutely.
Whether it's pronunciation, expanding our vocabulary, mastering different grammar tenses, or even just sprinkling in some well-placed idioms.
Those are the spices that make the story delicious.
Yes.
It's like taking it to that next level.
Makes us better storytellers.
For sure.
And more engaging communicators in general.
Overall, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's the key takeaway here.
Yeah.
We've gone over some valuable techniques.
Yeah.
But the real challenge is actually using them.
Yes.
In your everyday conversations. So think about a recent trip that you took.
Yeah.
What vivid details, interesting vocabulary, or relatable idioms could you use to make that story come alive for other people?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the power of a story is in those details.
It's in the details.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's a great place to leave it.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.